rally for Harris. It's the full event. It's just an MSNBC exclusive, I'm sure. Let's go see what these individuals are speaking on. It's your boy Kicking It with Timmy B. I'll leave the link in the description below. Hit the like, share, and the subscribe button. Hope everyone's doing well. Drink water, all that other good jazz. And let's get right into the video.
And it's about decency and respect and all the things that we were raised to believe about what it means to be an American citizen and pursue the American dream. And if that is important to you, I hope whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in the middle, you will choose to vote your values, because values are on the line in this election. And in no other country on this earth could her story unfold the way it has. From a child of immigrants to big sister to McDonald's worker, there is hope for y'all. District attorney, a wife, and mamala to senator to vice president. Please welcome Kamala Harris.
It seems so fake. Did you see that? It's just like females are so fake, man, these days. I tell you what.
So welcome to hello, Madam Vice President. Hello, welcome to Michigan.
It's so good to be back, and Governor, thank you for everything you are and everything you do for this state. Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Can you see this? We have 1,000 screens here representing people from all over the country.
Hi, everyone.
Can you feel? Can you feel? Can you feel it? Can you feel the joy rising in here?
I can, and I have to tell you, there's so much that I love about our campaign, because it really is about the people. And I look around at these screens, Oprah, I look at who's in the room, and this is America.
This is
America. You know, I was saying with a group of friends earlier, I think in this moment where we've dealt with so much that I think is quite exhausting around powerful forces that would try and divide us and try us to have us as Americans pointing fingers at each other.
Yes.
That this movement that is about reminding each other that we have so much more in common than what separates us is so critically important. And this is about the strength of who we are as Americans. And this movement that we're in about, as I like to say, seeing in the face of a stranger a neighbor.
Yes.
Just look at Oprah just say, it's like, what is this lady talking? It popped up on this monologue right now.
Yes.
An extension of love thy neighbor, that you literally in the face of a stranger see a neighbor.
Yes.
And approach each other with that level of dignity and grace and kindness.
Well, that's exactly what happened with the Win with Black Women. I know you've known Joe Taker for many years.
Thank you, my
That's
dear.
exactly what happened.
He started it.
They had the big call. They had the big call, and then.
Why is she like interrupting Oprah? That's just cringe behavior. It's very. It just makes me uncomfortable. I would be uncomfortable. I was like, well, I get you're like Madam VP. This is Oprah. This is her show. You're talking to Oprah. You're not talking to the governor, whoever this other lady. Like, what? This is what people are. Yo.
Let's open the door.
Yeah.
Let's open the door and invite everybody else in, and everybody actually came.
Organically.
Yes.
Organically. Like,
Yeah.
this is the beauty of our country. There's so much at stake in this election. And ultimately, the question before us is, what kind of country do we want to live in? And the beauty of a democracy, as long as we can hold on to it, the beauty of a democracy is each of us has the power. Each of us has the power to answer that question.
That's right. Everybody on this call and beyond has the power. But can I just start with this?
Yes, please.
I have to say this because
You see Kamala Harris' scary face right here? Oh man, she is scared. Check this out. Oh, we gotta go back.
Has the power. Each of us has the power to answer that question.
That's right. Everybody
Yo, this is crazy. No. Oh,
on this call and beyond has the power. But can I just start with this?
Yes, please.
I have to say this because in all of my private conversations, Gail, and I've said this 100 times,
Yeah.
and everybody is saying it, you all have said it, I know you have. It seems to us that something happened to you the moment President Biden, stepped aside and withdrew his candidacy, that a veil or something dropped and you just stepped into your power? I mean, literally, looking at you at a speech like the week before, which was a great speech, very nice, and then the next week, I saw you walking in the thing. And I said, what happened to you?
I do want to just say this. I don't know. I'm just going to say it. I feel like she's like clowning Kamala Harris right now. Doesn't Oprah know who Willie Brown is? Isn't she like well aware of like that whole lifestyle of how this lady like was living back in the day? Or doesn't she know Oprah like you were doing X, Y, and Z, and then you just stepped right into? I don't know. I just find that so interesting. There's the wording for that.
We each have those moments in our lives where it's time to step up.
Time to step up.
Time to step up,
Well, the moment you heard, I mean, I really have been saying to people, it felt like a veil dropped and you sort of stepped through that veil. Did you feel like that?
I felt a sense of responsibility, to be honest with you. And with that comes a sense of purpose. But I mean, we're all here and you all are taking time out of your busy lives, everyone here, everyone on the screen, because there really is so much at stake. I have spent the majority of my career being concerned about the well-being of other people.
Yeah.
As I've said, in my career as a prosecutor, I never looked at a victim or a witness and asked them, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay?
Are you okay? I know when I heard that. Touch me.
And traveling this country and knowing what is at stake in terms of fundamental freedoms, what's at stake in terms of fighting against hate and those efforts to divide us. And I do know that I'm in a position to do something about it. So I felt a great responsibility. And the incredible power of the people, right? Who, I'm not the only leader in this. We're all leaders in this. This is so much bigger than me. It's about who we are as Americans. And it's about making clear what we stand for. And what we stand for is about the ideals upon which we were founded, including the importance of freedom and the importance of independence and the importance of dignity and purpose. But it is also about what we stand for in terms of our values. I think of it this way.
I think a lot boils down to values. I just
It's crazy when Oprah's got to cut you off. Like, interesting. Maybe it's been a while since we've watched an Oprah interview, which it may have been. I couldn't even what, Dave Chappelle was probably like the last interview, maybe. It had to be something else. It's just very interesting.
That
It really
values are on the
does.
line here.
It
Yes.
does. I mean, think about it, Oprah. The idea that some would suggest, and that my opponent and it suggests, which is that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down. Come on. The real measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. And it's important for us
Absolutely.
to articulate that.
You know, ever since the debate, we feel for our fellow citizens in Springfield. Do you not think about the fellow citizens in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian families, the non-Haitian families, everybody having to deal with this?
It's so funny how they mention the Haitian families first, but don't even mention anything about the actual local people there. She doesn't care about any of the local American people, the American voters there. She just goes right to these folks. I find, once again, the wording and how it's being presented, it's very interesting. Let's continue.
This lie that has endangered the lives of Haitian people and anybody who looks Haitian. Everybody in America feels for that. And everybody in America, left, right, middle, has concerns about immigration.
Yeah.
And I'm told that Justin, where are you in the audience? Justin.
Hello.
In our audience.
Hello, Madam Vice President.
You live in Michigan.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't love saying hello, Madam Vice President.
I do.
What's your question? It's an immigration question.
Question for you is, when you become president, what would be your specific steps? Yeah, of course. What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state.
I'm not understanding why this is the first thing that comes out of your mouth to the answer to this guy's question. Let's just go back. This guy took the time. Oprah gave him an intro, and this lady just, not even alley-oops it, she just fumbles it. Just crazy. Let's go back and hear this one more time.
That has endangered the lives of Haitian people and anybody who looks Haitian. Everybody in America feels for that. And everybody in America, left, right, middle, has concerns about immigration.
Yeah.
And I'm told that Justin, where are you in the audience? Justin.
Hello.
In our audience.
Hello, Madam Vice President.
You live in Michigan.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't love saying hello, Madam Vice President.
I do.
What's your question? It's an immigration question.
Question for you is, when you become president, what would be your specific steps? Yeah, of course. What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on.
Okay.
I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people. Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill.
I just have to stop her right here. I mean, how the guy asks you what you're going to do. What are you going to do? This is like the most frustrating thing to hear, because some people just don't catch this if you're not paying attention. The guy in this blue shirt up here asked you, what are you going to do when you become president? about the border. So she goes and talks about this record of what she is. It seems to be the first thing that comes out of her mouth when someone asks her this question. Well, here's my record, okay? And you're waiting like, okay, you did these things. What is the part where you're going to tell me what you're going to do right now? What are you going to do when you get there? Okay, well, you know, this seems to, well, here's my record. Now I'm going to go into explaining why we're here. Okay, well, we're here because conservative legislation or individuals in the House or Senate, whatever she's going to say here, made laws to put us in the position that we're in right now. So instead of giving this guy an answer of what you're going to do, you tell this gentleman and the American people and all these folks in this room and Oprah, you're telling all these people to that question about your record, you go and blame the people that were before you why the issue is going on today. What are you going to do about it? Why would you go and blame someone else? Just tell us what you're going to do about it. You know, what's the policy that you can change that is conservative or whatever that these conservative mindsets put together? It just doesn't even matter. Just what are you going to do about it? Not, it's just so wild, man.
And here's what that border security bill would have done. It would have.
They shot down the security bill because it, to my knowledge, had a bunch of money going to things that had nothing to do with the border. It was like a bunch of other people's borders being a bunch of money going to other people's borders, but not a lot going to the border patrol going to the border. If it's a border bill, if it's a border further bill, if it's a bill for our border, then all of the money should go to our border and strengthening it and giving these people the resources, the people, the training, all the stuff that they need to go and keep people from jumping over, walking over, digging over, smuggling, bringing in all kinds of stuff. That's what it needs to be used, not used for other things in other countries. That's not right. So obviously, to my understanding, is why would anyone want to sign that bill knowing that none of that money is really going to the border? And the conservative mindsets are the conservative minds that had to vote on that probably seeing that, you know, that's probably, this bill doesn't sound like it's doing anything for our border. We're not signing it. Let me know.
It'll put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock. It would have just been about giving them some support and relief, which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And I'm looking at people from all over the country here, so I don't need to tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done to families, to kids in our country, and the need to take seriously stemming the flow coming into our country and addressing that extraordinary and tragic issue in terms of its effect. The bill would have allowed us to have more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations. And it would have been part of the solution. And Donald Trump called up those folks and said, don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill, and you know why?
Why?
Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And he has.
So, yeah. So, and answer your question, you know why it's like that? Because this guy, well, Madam Vice President, that's all nice and all. What are you going to do about it then? Instead of looking at me and
Put his personal political security before border security. Because understand, even in the intervening months, what that bill would have done to give support to folks who care about this issue. And
it's funny how this lady brings up the political security when they don't even want to give his security all of the resources that they need. Or they didn't even want to give the security to RFK when his family is literally embedded within politics. Like, man, these people, this is crazy, bro.
This again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs, because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that bill...
Yeah, it's like, thanks for the word salad here. What?
...has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely, and when I am elected President of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
So you're gonna bring this bill that they did not pass back, and that's how you're going, and you're going to sign it into law. That's how you're going to change the border, huh? That's what you're going to do about the border. I mean, this is new information to me. This is new information to me. This is what she's going to do to change the border. She's going to bring that bill back that these folks did not pass, to my understanding, as of right now, 9/20/2024. And she's going to sign that, and that's what she's going to do. Can we get more context on that? I need a more elaborate breakdown, a more detailed breakdown of exactly what was in this bill, what's going to be, how are you, like, come on.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Justin. Listen to this. A majority of young Americans, 18 to 34, say that the cost of living is their top issue ahead of the election. Let's take a look.
Groceries are extremely expensive right now.
I don't understand how people are affording life right now.
For so many Americans, the high cost of living is their top concern this election.
Rach, we have $435 to last us till the end of the month. Okay?
What?
In Philadelphia, Rachel and Garrett say they have to watch every penny.
When I think of middle class, I think about people who are able to just get up and go and do things within their means, and like not extravagant things, but be able to get up and go to dinner whenever they want, or maybe take that trip, that long weekend trip. We don't have that luxury.
By a long shot, her tax plan is phenomenal, no glazed.
Kamala Harris just delivered her new economic plan, and boy, oh boy, is it good for small business owners.
Holy shit, you guys. Kamala Harris is going to announce tomorrow a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
Well, Rachel and Garrett are joining us on Zoom from Pennsylvania, and I understand your sister and brother-in-law moved in, and you're hoping to save money to have a second child?
That's right. Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. It's nice to be with you all.
Yes.
Hi.
And so, what did you want to say to the Vice President?
Wait. Who's moved in so you guys could do what? You guys moved in so you could have, so you could take their money so you can afford another child? What? I mean, I'm not knocking them. It just doesn't make any sense. What?
Increase economic security for all Americans.
I'm lost here.
Well, Rachel and Garrett are joining us on Zoom from Pennsylvania, and I understand your sister and brother-in-law moved in, and you're hoping to save money to have a second child?
That's right. Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. It's nice to be with you all.
Yes.
Hi.
And so, what did you want to say to the Vice President?
So, Madam Vice President, we are, like many, many young Americans, just experiencing a very high cost of living. We ended up giving up our apartment, moving in with our parents who were so gracious to take us in for over a year so that we could save money and ultimately buy a home, because that's what we thought the American dream was, to get married and buy a home and have a baby. And now here we are, and our mortgage is incredibly higher than what we thought it would be. And my sister and our brother-in-law are living with us right now so that they can hopefully one day do the same. And while it's beneficial for us because they help us pay off some of our mortgage, it's also beneficial for them because they can save on cheaper rent. But we really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all,
Yeah. First of all, how you're having a hard time paying your mortgage, so you're going to have another child? So your whatever husband's folks moved in, so you use their money to pay for the mortgage as you have a second, interesting.
thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel.
I have never heard something like that.
And
I'm not gonna lie.
in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging, which is when, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film, look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother, because she helped my mother raise us. And she was a small business owner, Miss Shelton. So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners, buyers, to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home.
Yeah, to buy it. How about these people already have the home? How about where's the help so they could keep the home? Oh man, you can't make this up, man. You cannot make this up. Let's go.
Because people just need to be able to get their...
And look, they're all clapping like seals. Yeah, that makes total sense. Meanwhile, it's like, but they have a house right now. How do you help them with the house that they have? Not, I mean, it's so, you want to be able to buy a house. $25,000 is the least. Then need way more money than that. How about the folks that already have their houses? Already have their homes, and they're trying to keep it, and they're having an issue keeping it. How do you help them out, lady? Come on now, man.
Foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going. That's right. And
it's still on paper with the $5,000.
Right.
It's still on paper.
It just hasn't happened, right? Part of to speak to you guys and your family and your dreams is what we need to do around giving middle-class families tax breaks. And so part of my plan is also to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that you can, in the first year of your child's life, have the resources to be able to buy a crib and a car seat and clothes for your baby, knowing that's such an extraordinarily important time in their development, and you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to take care of their basic needs. All of this and more is part of what I plan to build, and I call it an opportunity economy. And it's basically about creating opportunities, knowing so many people have the ambition, have the aspirations, are working hard, but just need opportunity to reach their goals and their dreams.
I saw you smiling with that $25,000 credit for the home. I saw that smile on your face and the $6,000. Thank you all so much. I want to just introduce to Shelby, who's also in our virtual audience. Thank you guys.
It's like, hey, thanks for not solving my issue. Let's go to the next person that we're not going to help actually give them a clear, concise answer of how Kamala Harris is going to solve their issue, why they need to vote for her. You know what I mean? Silly.
Shelby from Virginia, who's also struggling with the cost of living. Tell us your story, Shelby.
By the way, if this this is what gets me. If these folks were so great, if they're so great, why isn't this economy so great? Oh, well, the economy's fine. Well, if the economy's so fine, why are these people on here saying that the economy's not great and they're going to vote for this woman who's running? She's with the guy running right now. Why can't she go and say, hey, Joe, why can't we go after, all these people raising up their prices? Oh, well, you're the vice president. Oh, okay, well, but Joe, but you're the president though, right? Yeah, but you're the vice president. Oh, okay, but what am I doing then? What is my job then? What if I'm not doing anything? If you're not sending me out to go talk to these people to go lower the cost of living and all these different aspects, then what makes it any difference if she's by voting her in? She'll have the executive order to do it. All she has to do is just tell Joe, hey, I want to do this. Well, apparently there's some disagreement in between. That's what it seems like, because why do we have to wait until you're president? You're the vice president, dude. That's what, I don't care what anyone tells me. I need to go look up literally what I just said. If they want to go do something about it, talk to Joe Biden and say, hey, can you sign this executive order to go change this? Can we go talk to the Senate? Can we go talk to the House? What legislative order do we need to make? What policy do we need to implement?
Why?
Hi, Madam Vice President. Hi, Oprah. I'm 24 years old. I'm a graduate student living with my parents, and I want to move out next year and potentially buy a home. And I'm concerned about the affordability of one with the extra costs and bills I'm paying now, along with the bills and costs I will pay in the future, too. And so everything just has a cost and everything is so expensive. And so I'm worried about my capacity and how I'm able to fully support myself once I do live independently.
You sound like one of my daughter girls from South Africa graduated. She was like, I hate adulting. I hate adulting. This adulting isn't going so well. Yes.
Well, so first of all, congratulations on all the success you've already achieved. And it is your story and the story of our friends before you is really, that's the American story, right? You are working hard, you have goals, you have ambitions. And so part of it is, again, the $25,000 down payment assistance. Part of it is what we need to do to also push back against a very different vision for our country. Because look, in this election, there are two very different visions for our country. One, for me, that is focused on the future, including you, and another that is focused on the past. What Donald Trump, what my opponent plans on doing for the economy is doing what he did the last time he was president and giving another tax break for billionaires and the biggest corporations that would add $5 trillion to our deficit. And get this, he plans on doing what I call a Trump sales tax, which is basically he's going to put a 20% tax on everyday necessities that economists have estimated will cost the average American $4,000 more a year, which is why Goldman Sachs, which is why Moody's, which is why Wharton School of Business, which is why 16 Nobel laureates have collectively determined, after analyzing our plans, one, mine would strengthen the economy, his would weaken it. Two, that on his plan, he would actually blow up inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So when you think about the cost of living,
I mean, what are we living in right now? And it's so funny that she's bringing up Donald Trump. Isn't this lady asking what you're doing? Like, it seems like a great deflection to go and say what the other person is doing. What are you doing? This lady is not at a Donald Trump rally. This lady is not talking to Donald Trump. She's talking to you. Why don't you answer her question about what you're going to do? Not with Donald Trump. Just so confused, man. These politicians are just absolutely mind-boggling with this crazy lingo and the way that they like talk to people. It's not right, man.
my approach is about lifting you up. His would be about actually weakening our economy. And I feel very strongly when an individual, when a small business, when a family, when the middle class is strong, America is strong.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Rachel and Garrett.
She keeps mentioning the middle class. How is that young girl in the middle class? Like, what is classifying middle class? Well, you have to have like yeah, where's the middle class at this point? I thought there was poor, middle, and rich. This lady Kamala Harris is like mixing poor people with the middle class, which I don't understand. Like, there's a tax bracket, folks. I feel like there's legitimate ways that we measure who is in what. How is that little girl in the middle class? And what is telling her this middle class story when she's living in this is insane, bro.
So the Harris campaign kicked off the Fighting for Reproductive Freedom bus tour to support the fundamental right for women to make decisions about our own bodies. And here is a short tape on that.
I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
After Roe v. Wade was overturned, Tennessee put forth a ban immediately that banned all abortion with no exceptions.
Abortion bans are not pro-life. They are pro-poverty and pro-inequality.
It's been over 2 years since a 5-4 ruling by the Supreme Court ended Roe versus Wade, the landmark case that provided nearly 50 years of abortion rights across the United States. Since then, abortions have been banned in over a dozen states. Many women and doctors say the limits on reproductive rights have forced them into unimaginable situations.
These policies do not reflect evidence-based medical practice. They do not keep my patients safe.
According to the gender equity policy, women who live in states where abortion is banned are up to 3 times more likely to die during pregnancy, during childbirth, or soon after giving birth.
I nearly died, all because of Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices overturning Roe v. Wade.
So for the millions of you who watched the Democratic National Convention, you will remember Hadley Duvall telling her incredibly powerful story. And in case you didn't see it, here's just a brief look.
Growing up, I was an all-American girl. Varsity soccer captain, cheerleading captain, homecoming queen, and survivor. I was raped by my stepfather after years of sexual abuse. At age 12, I took my first pregnancy test, and it was positive.
Hadley is here. Stand up, Hadley. I can tell you, we are all standing up because we are so impressed by your courage to stand up and share your story. Where did that come from, the strength to do this? Because I'm sure you thought long and hard before deciding to go public with your story.
When Roe v. Wade was overturned,
thanks everybody,
I woke up with a harsh reality of my abuse was over, but my story is not. And I just could not fathom thinking about the other Hadleys out there that don't have that choice, that don't have somebody to go to. So being able to find courage and be the light for them, that's really what I do it for.
And so what do you want to say to other people who are voting in this election regarding what happened to you and what that means?
You can't wait until it's too late to care about reproductive health care, because then it's too late. And when it affects you, it hits, and you can't deny it. You can't look at someone with a story like mine and say it didn't happen. And there are more people like me out there, and there are gonna be so many more who deserve their options. They deserve their choices. Let's get involved. We have someone who's willing to hear us at a level like never before. We have someone who wants to know what we want in this country. We have someone who wants to lift up our voice. And we need to show out and show up for her just like she's showing out and showing up for us.
All right.
That lady, that young lady, sounds more confident and knows what she's talking about. Clear, concisive, and to the point than this Kamala Harris lady will ever be. Can you believe that? That's the most... I don't agree with everything that she says, and that's perfectly okay. The whole point of it is I understood it, and it made sense, and it sounded way more. It sounded real compared to what this lady be spitting. It's insane. Let's go.
Anything you wanted to say to Madam Vice President?
Madam Vice President, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for seeing us, for hearing us when the Supreme Court won't. Thank you for fighting and, really showing us that life is not about the hard things that you go through. You don't bow down, even when you're the underdog, especially when you're the underdog.
That's right.
You stand up and you stand tall, and you give me so much hope and so much strength, and thank you.
coming all this way. I hope you continue to use your voice. I hope you continue that. This week, the case of a young woman who lost her life after the abortion ban took place in Georgia made national headlines. Amber's case came to light through the reporting of journalist Kavitha Sarana with ProPublica. And so listen to her story.
2 years ago, 28-year-old Amber Nicole Thurman, a medical assistant and a single mother to a 6-year-old boy, found out she was pregnant. Amber had just secured her own apartment and was thinking about going to nursing school. She made the decision to terminate her pregnancy. A strict abortion ban had recently taken place in her home state of Georgia, which caused Amber to travel to North Carolina for the procedure. Traffic made her miss the appointment, so the clinic gave her medication, what are known as abortion pills. Once back home, Amber experienced profuse bleeding, vomiting, severe pain. She eventually passed out. Her boyfriend called for an ambulance. At the Georgia hospital, Amber's condition deteriorated quickly. In a rare occurrence, it was discovered her body had not expelled all the fetal tissue and an infection was spreading. Official Georgia State medical expert analysis of her case says Amber should have received a life-saving D&C, but doctors waited 20 hours before deciding to take her to surgery. Amber's blood pressure had taken a dive. Her organs had started failing. In the operating room, her heart stopped. On the way to surgery, Amber's last words to her mother were, "Promise me you'll take care of my son."
Amber's mother, Shanette, and older sisters, CJ and Andrika, are here, and they wanted to be here tonight to speak out for the first time. Ms. Shanette, what do you want us to know about Amber's story?
Initially, I did not want the public to know my pain. I wanted to go through in silence, but I realized that it was selfish. I want y'all to know Amber was not a statistic. She was loved by a family, a strong family, and we would have done whatever to get my baby, our baby, the help that she needed. When ProPublica came to my home, I pushed them away. No, but Kavitha, she was persistent. She said, it was something that you needed to know. You have to hear me. Women around the world, people around the world need to know that this was preventable. 2 years later, after speaking with my daughters, because I lost strength, I lost hope, you're looking at a mother that is broken. Mm-hmm. The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel. Her father and myself and the family, you're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate so deeply you being here. And we're all watching you hear that tape and those words. We know how re-traumatizing that is and the strength it takes for you to be here to tell your story. And we deeply appreciate it. And I have to ask you, as her sisters, how are you coping? And what does knowing that this could have been prevented, how does that sit with you? How do you cope with that on a daily basis?
I mean, it's heartbreaking. You know, that was my baby sister. I loved my baby sister, you know. I'm beyond hurt, disappointed. I feel guilty. I wish I could have helped her, you know, because she was suffering. Mm-hmm. And we had no idea. We trusted them to take care of her, you know. Mm-hmm. And they just let her die because of some stupid abortion ban. They treated her like she was just another number They didn't care for her as if, she was their daughter or their, granddaughter.
Yeah.
And she's not here. She'll never come back.
Yeah. Andrika, what do you want to say?
I want to say that it's very disheartening that my sister was allowed to suffer for 20 hours. She suffered. It was nothing that we could do to help her. We trusted the healthcare professionals to do their job and save her, but they failed her.
Well, I think the most powerful thing that you've said here, Ms. Jeanette, is that your daughter is not a statistic. She had a life. She was loved by her sisters, loved by her family, loved by those who knew her, and she's not just a statistic. And we are happy to speak her name tonight in this room, talking about what this country needs in terms of reproductive rights and freedom. What do you want to say, Madam Vice President?
I'm just so sorry. And the courage that you all have shown is extraordinary, because also you just learned about how it is that she died. And
they just recently learned, yes.
How?
Yeah.
And Amber's mom shared with me that the word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable. That word keeps coming to her.
Mm-hmm.
And this story is a story that is sadly not the only story of what has been happening since these bans have taken place. And, just to step back in terms of how we got here, the former president chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overdo the protections of Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And they did as he intended, and in state after state, including yours, these abortion bans have been passed that criminalize healthcare providers. In a couple of states, prison for life, Oprah. Prison for life in a couple of states for a doctor or a nurse who provides health care. And so it seems very apparent
even when the mother's life is in danger.
But see, here's the problem with that. So is she on death's door before you actually decide to give her help?
Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. That you've got to prove you're on death's door.
Like literally a doctor or a nurse has to say, she might die any minute, better give her now care.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I might go to prison for life in some cases.
Mm.
Think about what we're doing in terms of saying that certain people who are in these state houses, and then starting with the former president of the United States, think they're in a better position than a doctor or a nurse to determine when their patient needs medical care. This literally, and Amber's story highlights the fact that among everything that is wrong with these bans and what has happened in terms of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's a healthcare crisis. It's a healthcare crisis that affects the patient and the profession. And going back to Hadley's story, and Hadley, you've been so remarkable in telling your story and being so strong in the way you do it. And both of these stories really, I mean, the courage for it out of pain, for you to tell these stories to help other people is just extraordinary. And Hadley, you've been so remarkable. You know, Oprah, I don't know if you know this, but when I was in high school, I learned that my best friend was being molested by her stepfather.
Yes, we heard that story on the DNC.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
you had the courage then to go to her and say, you've got to come to our house.
And she came to stay with us. I called my mother, she came to stay with us. And the idea that these same legislators who would be saying, criminalize healthcare providers are also saying that after a person's body has been violated, that they have no right to make a decision about what happens to their body next? That's immoral.
Yeah. I think it's not just immoral. But here's what I want to say. I just don't believe that those legislators, that the government has a right to be in your womb. They have no right to be in your womb with decisions about your womb.
And one does not have to abandon their faith.
Right.
Or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do.
Absolutely.
Right? If she chooses, she will talk with her priest, her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government telling her what's in her best interest.
All right. We got to do like part 2 because there's just so much going on here. I don't know too much stuff about this when it comes to stuff like this, but I do like to get it out there because women are very special in my life, and I support them very much. I have a lot of beautiful women that I love very much, and I support them, and I want to make sure, that they're able to do what they need to do. But when it comes to the other stuff, like actual policy and like foreign policy, what these folks are going to do for the economy, how are they going to keep us safe, like that stuff I'm very vocal about. I will be 100% vocal about. When it comes to this stuff, I would love to hear what the beautiful ladies have to say about this particular issue. So we'll do, this is part 1. We'll do part 2 here tomorrow because there's a lot of information going on. Interesting debate. I mean, it's like home field. This is like home field for her. So it's like, it's not that interesting. If it was in hostile territory and her giving like real, being held accountable and answering with clear, concise, answers, then I'd be really, really impressed. But this is like a home field for this woman here. But it's nice to have Oprah on there because Oprah will, I don't know, challenge, but they have a very interesting dynamic, the two of these individuals here, I might say. I'll just leave it like that. So anyway, let me know what you folks think in the comment section below. Hit the like, share, and the subscribe button. Winfrey hosts emotional star-studded virtual rally for Harris. It's a full event. I'll leave the link in the description below. This is part 1.